Welcome in the ring, folks. Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome in the ring. It's a privilege to have you guys. Hope you guys have had a good day, whatever you were doing today. We hope that you had a really good day, and welcome in the ring. Quite a program for you this evening. And we hope you're set, guys, because we're set at our end. Sometimes you gotta stay away just a couple minutes to see if people are going to miss you. And we see some of you have missed us this evening. Anne Marie and Rashley, good to see you guys there. Brendan Norton, all of you folks who are going to share the live stream. We welcome all of you this evening. Share. We're going to do our bit too as we begin the program for tonight. We are going to share the live stream as well. We are going to share the live stream as well. Well, we got a few things to talk, and folks, we're going to talk the things. Some people frighten prayers, but not us. Not us in the ring. We are not afraid. We're not afraid of prayers. As a matter of fact, this is a program that welcomes prayers. We welcome your prayers. And some of you who don't know what we're talking about, you're going to know shortly. So we invite you guys, as you come on, Donna and the others, Donna David and the others, Marcia Griffith, to share the live stream. We are happy to have you guys with us this evening. Tremendously happy to have you guys with us. I see the numbers are building up. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to share the live stream as I'm on blabbing. I'm going to do just that. I am going to share. So let me do that, guys. And then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk the things. We're gonna talk a couple of things. Right, so let me do that. Let me share the live stream as well. Let me share. All right, now nobody stalled me up tonight, So operators, y'all, let us work. Let us work. Guys, a very good evening. Very good evening to each and every one of you. And we're sharing the live stream as well. I'm switching to my cell phone so I can do it quickly. So I can do it quickly where it needs to be done. A good evening to each and every one of you. No exceptions as yet. No exceptions as yet, folks. As yet. Welcome. Hope you guys had a good day at work. Some folks still at work, picking us up at work, and we're grateful that they have a couple minutes to spare and they spend that time with us. We are grateful for that. So those of you who are picking us up at work, welcome in the ring. We seem to be the talk on a lot of lips of recent. We seem to be the talk on a lot of lips of recent. And we don't mind. We don't mind at all. I mean, that kind of thing is definitely good for business. Definitely good for business, folks. All right, so let me share as well. Things are operating a little slow at my end this evening. I don't know why, but we are going to stick at it. Sometimes persistence pays off. Sometimes, guys, persistence pays off. And I need to share it one other place, and then I think we're good to go from there. So I love that we're seeing so many shares this evening. So many shares. I love that. All right, so I've done my bit. Guys, where are you? All right, we're still going to hold for a couple other folks to join us. Still going to hold. Donna, good to see you. Hollis rather. Good to see you. Bernadette and Valerie, good to see all of you guys. Renee, I haven't talked to Renee for a long time. Renee, how are you going? How are you doing? June, is good to see you. Folks, I tell you, I was listening to that prayer by Pastor Durichan before I came on. I was lifting my hands and I was thanking God for life. I was thanking Him for strength. I was thanking Him for you guys because a lot of folks are not worried about me per se. They are worried with people who have followers. And so it could have been anybody. I was just very blessed to have you guys follow me on this program every day, every night. And so a lot of folks are worried about us this evening, are worried about me this evening. And it is because of you, Sharon, and Joan, and Marcia, and Earl, and Stan, and Denise. It's because of you guys. You're got them worried and jumpy because when they tune in and they see the folks, the numbers who are viewing this program, because of you, they get worried. And folks, we're going to shake this country, you know. We're not only going to shake this country with politics, but we're going to shake this country with prayers. Because, folks, we understand that prayers work and God answers prayers. And I owe everything to prayers. Those folks who lift me up in prayers every day. So I can't be against prayers. And I know the coalition ain't against prayers. We love prayers, folks. Lisa and Junie, Michael, Coretta. It's good to see all of you. The devil is a liar tonight. Folks, give me a text. Give me a scripture verse. Give me give me some direction. I feel like I'm going to preach tonight. They don't like prayers, no? Huh? The skin start burning them when pastors start praying. All right, folks. We're getting ready to start. We're almost where we need to be. Guys, this is going to be the live stream we want to share. Twitter, folks. Got to see our friends on Twitter. Good to see you guys on Twitter. Good to see you guys on YouTube who have joined us on YouTube. We love that you are with us this evening. We love that you are with us this evening. Guys, I got things to talk. So let's get going. I think we have hit that magic number. Guys, continue to share the live stream. I am so privileged and so blessed, so humble. Folks, God is alive and well. He is alive and well. Let's get to business, folks. Let's get to work tonight. No time to waste. Following international news, guys, you know we've been talking a little bit about what's been happening with the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry. And we told you last evening, for instance, that Big Mouth Piers Morgan got fired, or he left Britain today. He left. What we didn't know at that time was that this man was responsible, right? And this is Andrew Beresford, and Alex Beresford, rather. Alex Beresford. And this morning, if you were following us on Facebook, we put out a graphic that says, a good day to all except Piers Morgan, right? Piers Morgan is not a cross, folks. Cross is for decent people. I sometimes am a cross. Piers Morgan is a crass. And it was Alex Beresford that put him to its place and called him out for the comments he made concerning Meghan Markle, the Duchess of York, and how insensitive and uncaring and uncouth those comments were. But what you should know as well is that Alex Beresford has Guyanese heritage. Alex Beresford has Guyanese heritage. And while you're looking up Alex Beresford on Twitter, give me a follow too. Give me a follow on Cherry Duncan on Twitter. So Alex Beresford's father is Guyanese and lived at 30 Sandybab Street, Kitty. And Alex visited this country on quite a few occasions. And there he's pictured with his father in Sandybab Street. So, you know, we Guyanese don't take nonsense, you know. And we ain't taking nonsense from the fish, the catfish government. We ain't taking nonsense from them. So it was Alex Beresford, folks, who called out that hypocrite Piers Morgan. And now Piers Morgan is no more on Britain today. And we say good riddance. Folks, we're following the antics of the catfish government. Fraudulent, illegal, installed catfish government. You all remember several promises that were made? Huh? They promised to end prescription, to end the shortages of prescription drugs. Y'all remember that? Folks, I invite you to share this live stream. Y'all remember that? Huh? Well, guys, let me tell you something. What is not missing at the healthcare centers? What is not missing at the health centers is what is not there to be missing. It was never there. And so, for instance, there are several drugs that are missing from the healthcare centers in Guyana currently. There are shortages, folks, right? There are vitamin C missing, right? Asordil, hydrolazine, metamorphin, right? Simvastatin missing, Flagyl, there's a shortage, right? Dulcolax missing, albendazole shortage. I have a list here of no less than 40 drugs that are missing. No less than 40. Aspirin, something as simple as aspirin, there's a shortage at health centers in this country. In the 21st century, ibuprofen, 400 milligrams, there's a shortage. Panadol, Augmentin, Gravol, right? RBS strips, right? Prednisolone. I think these are some medications for pressure and so on, right? And the list: diclofenac, metformin. These are just some of the shortages in prescription drugs. Right? Not all of them are prescription drugs, but there is a shortage in prescription and other drugs. Right? So Catfish PPP, the North remembers the promises. The North remembers the promises. Right? Y'all remember the oil money to benefit all Guyanese? Right? Just recently we learned that $61 million US was earned from the fifth oil lift just within the last week. How many of you feeling that 61 million US? Shortages in prescription drugs, and we lifting 61 million US in oil. That was the last oil lift, the fifth oil lift that earned our country 61 million US. Right? Y'all get a raise in salary yet? Y'all get a raise in salary, public servants? Right? The minimum wage has been raised in the private sector as yet. But we are following the promises. We are following the promises, folks. And we say the North remembers. The joint services bonus. They get it yet? Public servants get the increase yet? Folks, we invite you to share the live stream this evening. Share the live stream this evening. So even with this windfall of money that we've been earning, even with this windfall of money that we're earning, people still feeling the squeeze. And not only financially, people are feeling the squeeze otherwise as well. And that is why we saw recently Ralph Ramkaran was asking when the seniors getting the vaccines. And where are these vaccines being given to seniors? Ralph Ramkaran, right, from Anug, who got his 30 pieces of silver and is advising the government on border matters. He asking when he getting he vaccine, right? When he getting he vaccine, Ralph don't live his life, don't live his life, and he want to know when he getting his vaccine. Right? Now, if Ralph is a senior member of government and he got to resort to Facebook to ask when he's getting his vaccine, when is Cindy going to get her vaccine, and Andre and Denise McKenzie, right? When is Sunil going to get his vaccine, and Desiree and Susan Liverpool, right? Sorry, Susan Cancias. When are they going to get their vaccine? If a top brass government official like Ralph Ramkaran got to resort to Facebook, if he is not in the loop with the vaccine distribution, how much more the ordinary citizen of this country? Folks, we turn our attention now to the witch hunting that continues in our country. Witch hunting that continues. And today, we learned that Trevor Ben of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission was arrested. Yep. Trevor Ben of the Guyana Lands and Surveys was arrested. Right? And before I touch on Trevor Ben, I saw some comments when I want to revert to shortages. Right? Gas price gone up. And the folks on Facebook are crying out. Right? The PPP claim that they have dropped gas price, and we all know gas price ain't gone no way down. Just today, folks on Facebook were crying that gas price gone up. Gas price gone up. Right? So all of those folks who watch us and go to report back what we are saying, or the members of government who watch this program for information, we welcome all of you. We know that gas price has gone up. You all are saying gas price has gone down, but it hasn't gone down. And folks have been submitting to us receipts where there are things that they should not be paying VAT on, that they are paying VAT on. And so we see the prosecution continues the witch hunting. They are claiming Trevor Ben obtained money on the false pretense by selling land that he was invested and empowered to sell. And he had pocketed the money for himself, you know. The money was handed over by the private company that bought the land directly to Lands and Survey. And yet, Trevor Ben was arrested for obtaining money on the false pretense. All right? For obtaining money on the false pretense. And so this is a matter that we are following. We are giving warning to the other side that y'all are overdoing it, and enough is enough. Enough is enough. We are following as well some additional witch hunting that is happening by Anil Nandilal, who I know watches this program. Gail Teixeira, who I know watches this program. We were reliably informed that there are terminations coming at the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. Folks, I tell you, every night we get so much information here. We got this on International Women's Day, this information. But we're dealing with so many other issues, we didn't get a chance to plug it. And so we plugged it this evening. There are firings that are coming that includes lots of women at the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. We also know that a lot of firing has been happening at Guy Oil. At Guy Oil. And so we are monitoring those as well. In addition to the people who are replacing those people at Guy Oil, who are being fired. All right? And the name of the human resource manager at Guy Oil is coming up. And so we got our eyes on this individual. Right? And folks, we tell you, share the live stream. We are going to make life difficult for some folks. We are going to make life difficult for some folks. Very, very difficult. So again, we invite you to share the live stream. Those joining us on Twitter, we invite you to give us a retweet. Guys, you know, we always have this segment. Guyana is not a real place. So Mark Phillips get the vaccine. Mark Phillips got his vaccine. Ralph Ramkran still looking for his own. Maybe Ralph Ramkran too senior. It's just the seniors like Mark Phillips they're dealing with. Right? Or if Ralph don't know where to find the vaccine for the senior folks, he could ask the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister got his vaccine at the official residence of the Prime Minister. Why the Prime Minister can't go like an ordinary citizen at a clinic and get the vaccine? Right? Why 15 or 20 medical personnel got to turn up, take away from the healthcare system because the Prime Minister needs his vaccine? It's frightening, you know. Mind you, folks, the Minister of Health says he's not taking the vaccine because he is not a frontline worker, a frontline healthcare professional. The Minister of Health. But here we have the Prime Minister. Right? Here we have the Prime Minister run to front to get the COVID vaccine. They say parliamentarians are going to get the vaccine too. Right? I'm not taking any vaccine until every Guyanese is vaccinated. Until every Guyanese is vaccinated. And so as soon as the vaccination starts, Prayer talking about reopening schools. Cover girl prayer talking about about reopening schools as soon as the vaccine start. As soon as the vaccine start. Cover girl prayer talking about reopening. You understand madness in this country when you see it? You understand what madness looks like? And folks, I've been telling you and that I know that the PPP watches this program. I'm going to prove it, and we don't mind because we can open ourselves to scrutiny, and we want as many persons as possible to watch our program. Here is our friend, the Attorney General, the fraudulent, illegitimate, installed Attorney General, who is an avid viewer of our program, and we thank him for that.
For example, he has a program called The Ring. I tried to listen to the fellow a couple times. In all fairness, Shara Duncan, for example, he has a program called The Ring. I tried to listen to the fellow a couple times. In all fairness, Shara Duncan, for example, he has a program called The Ring. I tried to listen to the fellow a couple times. In all fairness, Shara Duncan, for example, he has a program called The Ring.
There you have it, guys. The man is an avid viewer and other members of government. Well, we are quite privileged. We are quite privileged for that. We ain't gonna row. We ain't going to fret. You understand me? If the man said he watches the program, we are not going to dissuade him. Why am I going to do that? If the Attorney General watches your program, I'm happy about that. I'm happy he's coming to the place where he gets credible and valid information, according to my friend Randolph Critchlow, who's going to be with us shortly. Folks, we turn our attention now to the prayer that has shook the Guyana Police Force and shook the government. A power prayer by Pastor Patrick Dulichan. The prayer is so powerful, it ended up in the pastor being fired. That is how powerful the prayer powerful, folks. And tonight, I want to play the prayer for you so you can hear it for yourself. It's going to be available on my page after the program. And at the end of it, at the other side of the prayer, I'm going to have my colleague Randolph Critchlow. He's going to join me, and we're going to unpack this power prayer, folks. This power prayer by Reverend Patrick Dulichan that has shaken the government to its core, shaken the Guyana Police Force. I'm going to play that prayer for you this evening. Let me just make sure we have it correctly. We want to make sure that you get a good chance to view it correctly. Listen to it. I mean, when I listened to it before the program started, I was in heaven, lifting my hands, praying for this nation as well. Praying for this nation as well. Here it is, folks, and we're going to have some commentary on the other side.
And we will rejoice and be glad in this day. We are privileged today as we thank you for our head of state, His Excellency, President Mohammed Irfan Ali. We thank you today because your word declare, oh God, that you have ordained him today to be the president of this great nation. And like Jeremiah said, that while he was still in his mother's womb, you ordained him and you set him aside to be the head. And today we declare that over our president today. Your word declared that all authority is given by God. And you said that we must pray for him so that we may live a quiet and a peaceful life in this nation. Like Solomon today, God, when he came to you, and when he was the head of his nation, he said to you, God, I'm a child. I don't know how to lead this great people out and to bring them in. And your word declared that you grant him the wisdom, and we declare today that you will grant our president the same wisdom and understanding that he will lead this great nation into great success. Today we declare over him that his body, that his health will spring forth speedily. We cover him today with the blood of Jesus. And we declare, oh God, that as he travel in his going out and in his coming in, that angels will be with him and around him. For you said the angel of the Lord encampeth around them that feareth you. This day we lift the Guyana Police Force before you. And Father, today, if we are honest, we're able to say that this force is hemorrhaging right now. We stand in the gap and we confess the sins of this noble organization. We confess every spirit of racism in this organization. We confess the spirit of corruption and bribery. We confess the spirit of injustice. And we declare, oh God, even now, above all, we confess the disunity. And we pray, oh God, that right now, that this force is so fragmented that unless you help this force will continue to be in trouble. The words of Jesus declare that if any kingdom that is divided cannot stand. Jesus said any house that is divided will fall. Any institution, the Guyana Police Force is no exception. And if there's not unity and togetherness in this force, they will continue to face major issue. We pray for this force.
So there you have it, folks. The rest is going to be available on my page a little later on in the evening. The rest of that power prayer that has shaken the Guyana Police Force, it is quite a prayer, folks. And the question to be asked this evening is Pastor Julie Chan wrong in what he said about the Guyana Police Force? Folks, I have with me my colleague Randolph Critchlow, who is joining us now. Randy, a very good evening.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Randy, we getting some echo and hearing that loud. So let's try to organize that, folks. Let's try to get that better.
Sure, I think your mic needs to be muted when I'm on. Yeah.
All right, folks. So we are going to get that. We're going to get it right. So again, is the pastor wrong? He talked about the corruption in the Guyana Police Force, the divisiveness, the factions, right? Is this a case whereby people don't want to tell them the truth? Is there where we are as a country? People don't want to hear the truth? Is there's where we are? Let me tell you some more what was contained in the letter that was sent to Pastor Patrick Julie Chan, who was dismissed as chaplain of the Guyana Police Force because he dared to speak truth to power. This government want to tell you how to pray, and they're gonna want to write the script. They want to write the prayer and say, pray these words. So the letter, according to, I think we're picking up the text for the letter from Big Smith News, says that talked about the conduct. Moreover, your conduct during the prayer segment of the annual Officers Conference 2021 precipitated His Excellency, ministers of government, and other distinguished guests to express their utter disgust at such repugnant, fallacious, and inappropriate utterances at this dignified and professional activity. I haven't heard anything yet from Pastor that is repugnant, fallacious, inappropriate utterances, or undignified. Right? The fact that you had a man there who got 19 fraud charges to his name is repugnant and disgusting. Let me welcome back Randy and see if we have managed to correct. I don't know what's causing that, folks. But we're going to try to rectify that shortly. And so, folks, there you have it. Again, from the report we are receiving, these were the words in his letter. And now they want to say that Pastor was involved in some kind of corrupt activity with some Ponzi scheme group that he might have invested some money in. You see this government, how the wicked? You see this government, how the wicked? And then you know what analysts going to come and say? And they're going to come and say, you see, we're not racist. We fire Pastor Dolly China's chaplain for the Guyana Police Force, and he's Indian. So we're not racist. That's what he's going to want to come and say. The police force says that pastor's prayer precipitated the fraudulent in Irfan Ali's presentation, ministers of government and other distinguished guests, and they expressed disgust, right? They expressed disgust when scores, hundreds of Guyanese are being fired from the public service. But it's a prayer that got the skin burning.
Jared, you hear me now? Right. I hope that we're a little better. As I was coming, Jared, I noticed the report by Big News. I don't know if you saw it. You saw it? Right. So for those
you go right ahead,
persons
and I'm
who
trying not to comment with my audio.
You got it there, Jared?
Go right ahead, Randy.
Okay, so there's reporting on Big News that President Ali said that he liked the prayer, and the force chaplain must be reinstated. Oh my word!
What kind of upside down government is this? This is the definition of a catfish government. This is the definition of a catfish. It's madness. Randy, it's madness.
What? But I share that, you know what? The fact that the man was praying for things that do exist. He's praying against the corruption and the bribery and the racism. But their approach is to say, take this posture as if these things don't exist. You can't pray for them. You're telling untruth. Sad. And now of course somebody probably advised them that this thing ain't looking good. The man was so you don't want to admit that there is corruption in the police. So you fire the man for praying against corruption. Now they've reinstated it. This is just I don't even it's worse than a cake shop.
Madness. It's madness pure and simple. You understand me? And this is the definition of a catfish government. You understand me? A catfish government, that a police force that is indeed hemorrhaging, right? It is in the Boy Scout Club. It is in the Royal Rangers, in the church. That leader is against leader. Is in the church. You got one pastor carrying another pastor to court for promotion. Is in the Assembly of God's Church. It's in the police force, Randy. It is in the police force. So what are they talking about? What madness is this? Right? So they're like, pray now. And you see, Irfan Ali is always part and parcel of the corruption and the misdeed. And then he comes like the good cop. Jack Diogan said, fire him. I'm offended by that prayer. Right? Because they don't like prayers. And they have no place for God in their hearts. Right? The letter says, it is not enough for the president just to say he liked the prayer. This letter said that guests there were disgusted at such repugnant, fallacious, inappropriate utterances at this dignified and professional activity. Right? It is not enough. And that is the same thing Starbuck News spoke about recently about Irfan Ali and the COVID nonsense at the Demerara Cricket Club. He allowed the organizers to go ahead, do whatever they want to do, and then he swooped down and said, oh, I don't like the COVID protocols that are not in place here. You understand me? He is head of the police force, just like he's head of the army. And so the army must, and police force rally must be picking up some vibrations from the government that says that this is an appropriate action that we can take.
Yeah.
That it speaks of. I'm trying to figure out who gave the order. Who gave the order to send this man home? How
It
we
got to
got
be
to
the
this
commissioner of
place?
police. Only the commissioner of police can do that. Only the commissioner of police can do that. And the commissioner of police must believe in himself. He must know that this letter is going to reach the public, right? And he feels comfortable enough that he has the backing of the government to do this. I have no doubt Irfan Ali knew this was coming and had a hand in firing past Dooley Chan as chaplain for the Guyana Police Force. But now he is responding to the backlash.
And Sherry, as I said earlier today, what this tells me is, there's a saying, you, in order to fix anything, you have to first admit that it exists. And to say to the pastor what you were saying was repugnant and fallacious suggests that there is an absolute denial on the part of the Guyana Police Force and the government that there is corruption and there is bribery, there's racism, there's division and disunity, right? And any organization can be saddled with those things. We had the President of the United States of America was dealing to himself basically. People got to stay at the hotel, so it's corruption at every level. So why is the Guyana Police Force, immune to corruption and these things? We know the average guy knows that this happens.
Randy, where is $300 million missing from? Huh? It's from the police force. What? Somebody move it from one table to the next and they can't find it yet? Or went over it by mistakes and hoping it come back? Pastor was spot on in the prayer. Irfan Ali knew that Dooley Chan was going to be fired. The police force says that the president, ministers of government, in the letter to Dooley Chan and other distinguished guests expressed utter disgust. So you tell me the police force lying on the president? Then this commissioner of police should go home tomorrow. The commissioner of police lying on the president, it says they express utter disgust. And now Irfan wants to sit down and save the day. Give us a break, Irfan. We're seeing this kind of duplicity too much. Randy?
So that's my question. So where did the commissioner and the people who wrote this letter get that information? The president was upset because the president comes out a couple hours later and said, no, I like the prayer. What sort of madness is that? Then somebody lying on the president.
It's a schizophrenic government.
You have to at some point in time understand that, look, it's either you take one position to the other. It's either you lying on the president or the president actually said this thing. And if you lying on the president, then something else, where's the repercussion for that? This is not even surprising to me, Sharon. It's not even surprising to me. As you said, the 300 million. You look at how they dealt with the Henry Boys and Harris Singh. You look at how they're dealing with all the other issues. It is no surprise that you have this confusion. And what happened on that day is that the officers couldn't take a little bitter pill and sit down in the culture center and accept that we have these problems. Everybody turn feelings, Johnny. Because the pastor call them out on the corruption and the racism and the division in the Guyana Police Force. And somebody carry feelings. Apparently, the president and all carry feelings according to the letter. Microphone.
I'm saying, Randy, that if the commissioner of police is lying on the president, the commissioner of police should be sent home tomorrow. The commissioner of police, the letter to the Pastor Dooley Chan, who I respect and whose prayers I appreciate for this country. The letter said that guests, including His Excellency, ministers of government, and other distinguished guests, expressed utter disgust. That is what it said. it says that the prayer was repugnant, fallacious, inappropriate at the dignified activity, right? A dignified activity where you have men who have catch, have $300 million from the Guyana Police Force, guns missing, and they got a case, if not cases, before the High Court right now, fighting for position. While the thieves running rampant in the country, you understand me? And the witch hunting continues, right? They got the nerve to say it was repugnant, fallacious, inappropriate, and undignified.
At this point, what can I say, Sharon? What can I say? It's been 220 days. 220 days, and I keep telling people, just take a step back and look, as we said early o'clock from the flooding of those persons at supply to all of that has gone on in this country since the PPP has taken power. Just take a step back, and as we said early, it looks like if the PPP came with this bottle of confusion powder and they are using it with impunity. They just sprinkle it everywhere. The Guyana Police Force everywhere. The fact that, throwing Kwame in Parliament is confusion powder itself. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say, Sharon. We are at an interesting place in this country. An interesting place. Yeah.
Randy, let me quote from members of the public, Randy, the offending words in this prayer. Right? Pastor Julie Shan said, "This day we lift the Guyana Police Force before you. And Father, today, if we are honest, we will say that this force is hemorrhaging right now. We stand in the gap and we confess the sins of this noble organization. We confess every spirit of racism in this organization. We confess the spirit of corruption and bribery. We confess the spirit of injustice. And we declare, oh God, even now above all, we confess the disunity. And we pray, oh God, right now, that this force is so fragmented that unless you help this force will continue to be in trouble." The vex with the pastor. You understand me? To the extent now that they're going to talk about, like, other Guyanese who were hoodwinked by a Ponzi scheme, pastor could have invested money. Likewise, they're going to say the man was involved in a Ponzi scheme and is on investigation. Huh? You hear nonsense here? This is all part of the reporting. So they want to squeeze him out and push him out. So they're not going to add stuff to it. But if you knew he was involved in a Ponzi scheme, it's when you knew that on the 4th of March when the police officers had a conference. Is on the same day you found out suddenly? Randy?
You're talking, Sharon, and all I'm thinking, this is not a real place. It is not a real place. It's. I'm sorry that I can't contribute any more to this topic, but I'm just lost of words at the utter madness that is unfolding in front of us. The utter madness. I don't even know what to say. And you hit the nail on the head when you spoke about the people in attendance. The people in attendance who oversaw all of the corruption and madness in the police force feeling away when the pastor is praying and trying to help them. Right? And of course, the government must feel, I said this before, the government, I could understand their position. This man is calling us out. He is saying, look, there is corruption, bribery, racism, division, everything in the force. And instead of accepting that and owning and saying, coming out and saying, listen, we will work to fix these things. They could even say, you know what? It's the AP and UAFC fault. We come and meet this corruption and bribery. Right? They could have, they could have said, in the 5 years, this is what they do. No, you know what we can do? We can fire the man for praying for what he saw is wrong. This is where we are.
Folks, we believe in prayer. And I say to Pastor Dulich, and continue to pray about the spirit of corruption and bribery and injustice in the police force and disunity. Continue to pray for our country, right? We need more. And I say this without any regrets, that if Jesus was living in our time, right, and was happened to be employed by this government, he would have been fired. You know why? Because Jesus spoke to power, right? Jesus said to Herod, Herod, you're a fox. Stop sleeping with your brother's wife. Right? And those persons who involved in corruption going to feel offended. Those persons who sleeping with their brother's wife and the sister and the auntie and the uncle and everybody, they're going to feel offended by a prayer like this. Those corrupt people, right, who killing each other in the police force. And I spoke on this program the other evening about the civil war in the Guyana Police Force right now. They're going to feel offended. Those persons who know that they're going to lock up and charge people who are innocent, of course, going to feel offended by a prayer that calls for an end to injustice in the police force. You understand me? Those persons who are involved in fighting each other for position going to feel offended by a prayer that asks for healing for the fragmented Guyana Police Force. They're going to feel offended and the skin going to start burning them. You know what? They're going to start manifesting, Randy. Right? I think people call it anti-banter. So we got to get rid of pastor. Right? Because you know what? Where there's decay, they want salt there, you know. Where there's darkness, they don't need light. Right? And we know this government like darkness. Look how much blackout we getting of recent. Randy.
Well, I believe I see the comments. The people are saying amen, Cheryl. I agree with them. I agree with them. You sounded like a pastor there.
Let me tell you something. It's either was going to be two things with my life. I was going to become a pastor or I was going to become a politician. Right? I would say I will not step down from a politician to become a pastor. My pastor would say, I will not step down from being a pastor to become a politician. But I believe that this is the calling of God in my life. But I spend the greater part of my life in church. Right? And church is decent. It's a decent establishment. I come from the church. You understand me? And this prayer is needed. But Randy, we talked about corridor of unity and oneness. Why pastors' views aren't appreciated? Why your views, Randy, would not be appreciated? Why my views cannot be appreciated? You see, it's catfish. You're being catfished, and we spoke about this. You see, they talk, but when it comes time to walk in the walk, they can't do that. Randy?
You know, and I want to, and if every opportunity I get, I'll come back to this point, Sharon. It seems as if this is a coordinated thing. And you said it before, and you were quite right when you said the president knew exactly what was happening. It's the backlash that they got from the action that caused him to say, well, I like the prayer. Well, what about the other officials there from your government that didn't like the prayer? What about those GDR, those officers that didn't like the prayer? What does that say? What does that say about your government? You could come out and say you like the prayer. Although we know, of course, that is not the case. But it falls squarely in line with the modus operandi right now. Everybody else doing stupidness. The president obviously don't have ears and he doesn't have eyes to see what is happening, because he seems to be living in this unity bubble, and he's going to go and make hairy-fairy speeches here and there about unity and togetherness and all sort of madness. And his right hand and his left hand and above him and behind him, everybody doing foolishness. But he is, again, I don't know what's happening. I'm calling for peace. Why are all these black people being sent home? You know, why is all this? Where is all this disunity coming from?
Randy, I want to know. Randy, I want to know, what does the Fisher Bishop got to say? because he sit down there, you understand me, pretending to be a man of the cloth and a man of God. What is in his prayers? If he, the bishop, is a man of the cloth and he's not praying, Dulichan is praying, Reverend Pastor Dulichan, what is the bishop praying about? And I want to see that the Pastor Dulichan, is on track. The Bible tells us, Randy, that a prophet is never accepted in his own hometown. And when you see you getting too cozy, if you're getting dismissed as a pastor, thrown in prison and so on, you're doing the gospel right. So Pastor Dulichan said something that hit a nerve. You understand me? You know when you're in church and you start praying, some people start catching anti-banter because it's the spirit moving. And that's what happened in the police force, you know. And now this catfish president wanted to come back and say that he liked the prayer. He liked the prayer after he already said to the commissioner of police his disgust, right? And the catfish bishop as well, because the man said ministers of government. So I have to assume the catfish bishop was offended and disgusted as well by this quote-unquote repugnant, fallacious, inappropriate utterance, undignified utterance. I have to assume that Edge is part of the bunch who are disgusted.
Well, I would assume so, Sharon. Yeah. I want to assume so.
And as we approach program time, we say a good night to all folks except the Guyana Police Force. Randy, I'm sorry that you were always so close to that end. A good night to all except, right? A good night to all except the Guyana Police Force. Let me aim down this thing I'm pointing at Randy. Except the Guyana Police Force, right? Because just the other night, right on this program, we were talking about this mayhem that is occurring in the Guyana Police Force, this civil war. It's only left for one day. You just hear is a big shooting up in the Guyana Police Force for promotion. This body doing this body moving around that body, right? A whole set of nonsense. I recently learned that there were staff in the Guyana Police Force Finance Department that were transferred because they have the information as to who exactly are the culprits with the corruption that Pastor spoke about. Right? So you move them around and you fire Pastor because you want to deal with truth. Randy?
This is it. This is me. I think we unpack everything. The suitcase empty.
We're going to leave the rest up to God, Randy. We're going to leave the rest and the Guyana Police Force up to God. A good evening to all except the Guyana Police Force. And you know what? I know Mr. Hickens. I have dealt with him when I was deputy mayor. And I think Mr. Hickens professes to be a man of faith. Professes to be a man of faith. They that know the will of God and do it not shall be beaten with many stripes. So Hickens, y'all watch yourself. Watch yourself. You understand me? Because when you start barking up to God and the things that are holy and God's chosen people, then you're cutting yourself off. You're cutting yourself off. And the prayer the bishop was praying for Ganesh the other day, like it fall back on them. Like is God scattering them, you know, Randy? A confusion is scattering them. Folks, a good night to all except the Guyana Police Force. Continue to social distance, sanitize, you know, wear your mask. You know, this government ain't got no time with you. They're mad with Ali. Ali is not the captain of this ship. We all know that. The captain of the ship was sitting down next to Ali the other day when they met with the ABC EU country. The captain of the ship, right? Ali is doing what he's told to do and told to say. He's not his own man, right? Pastor is his own man. Pastor went and Pastor spoke what was on his heart. And y'all got to deal with it now. Who's are the catfish bloodsuckers? Good night to all, except the Guyana Police Force. Randy, thanks for joining me this evening, my brother. Over now. And y'all better share this live stream before I call Pastor to say a prayer for y'all too.